Good morning. Today I will give you a little hint on how to reduce negativity in your life. We don't want to get rid of negativity totally, but reducing it is not such a bad thing. Where does negativity come from? Sometimes out of thin air, but rarely. Usually from other people. Why? Because they do something annoying to push our buttons. That makes us angry, jealous, envious, or purely makes us want to hit them. And that is not something we want to live with, right? We want to be calm, like the ocean on a really still day. The ocean is actually never calm. Let's say calm like the water in a bathtub. Okay, that's better. And that there is no wind and we reflect the reality perfectly. But when we have waves from these emotions, we do not reflect the reality perfectly. It gets distorted, so we want to be calm most of the time, right? In our neutral state of fulfillment, happiness and balance, just like water. And I don't like the metaphor with the bathtub. Let's say water on a lake, in a forest, in a very calm atmosphere, somewhere in Canada or Thailand, but without the crocodiles. Okay. When other people push our buttons, what can we do? These are our buttons. We get annoyed, we get jealous, we get resentful, and so on. And now I'm going to tell you an idea that my friend came up with. No, this is not a Lena idea, this is my friend's idea. And she wrote and published a book about red buttons. The buttons that other people push in us, be it our husband, our friend, or our parents. Everybody can do it. And if they know how to do it, they might even do it on purpose. And we do it to other people too. We know that this is exactly what they don't like. So I don't feel so good today, I'm going to do exactly that. And the red buttons are different for each individual. Now, how do we deal with this? At the end of my friend's book, there was a section that looked like a contract, where you fill in your name and your partner's name, and you list your red buttons and your partner's red buttons, and you sign the contract with them that you know what annoys them and that you promise not to do these things. And they're so funny and minor. Sometimes, like leaving your dirty socks on the floor, that actually annoys some women. I don't see why, but it's nothing major, really, when you think about it logically. Why would dirty socks on the floor annoy you? Sure, you can pick them up and put them in a washing basket, but it's not something to get your blood pressure up about, or it's not something to drive you crazy, to make you feel this emotion of anger, right? Even if it repeats and repeats and repeats. And as an exercise, I want you to go back to your profile. We will add a question today in the soul section about your red buttons. So please think about your red buttons and list them as an answer to my new question. What are your red buttons? What annoys you in other people? And I was trying to think about my red buttons. And one very obvious one is the scent of alcohol. If another person has been drinking, and I don't know where that comes from and in what context. In childhood, I smelled that alcohol. It makes me feel like I'm going to strangle this person, pretty much. And even if it's like a glass of beer or a glass of wine, and that's probably why I don't drink myself, but the smell of alcohol, not from a glass but from somebody's breath, makes me crazy in a not a positive way. And I try to avoid the conflict and walk away, usually saying, oh, I really have to go, and so on. But smell of alcohol is one of them. Another one is with cigarettes. When you're in a public place and there are like children playing around, like in a restaurant, and you know, people eating, and then somebody, and it happens a lot in Asia because there are no signs, no rules really. Somebody starts to smoke, and the air is filled with this white cloud of cigarette smoke, and and the person is only thinking about themselves when they think, well, I want to smoke, I'm smoking, but they don't think that it's harming little kids running around and people enjoying their time in the restaurant. So that is one of my other red buttons. Another one would be when somebody tries to tell me what to do, and when I say no thank you, they would say, no, this is exactly what you need, just do it. And that strikes something inside me that goes like, no! The beast, the sleeping beast that can really eat another person alive. Now, with these buttons, now I'm going to get to the point. It's good to talk about them before you experience that emotion. It's like, why did you smoke? Or why did you leave your socks on the floor? You're already in that emotion. I don't like that. I'm not happy with that. And that sort of thing. Before you get to that stage of experiencing that emotion, it's good to talk to your partner or your friends about your red buttons. And it's a good question. It's a fun question to talk about with whoever, with your parents also. It makes them think, makes you think, makes you learn and laugh, because most of the red buttons are really funny. Like the socks on the floor or the smell of alcohol. It's like, why? There's nothing special about it, so they must have had a glass of wine. It's not nothing major. Why does it make you crazy? I don't know why, because it's my red button. And here you go, there is a lot here, like a harmonica. Yeah. So, like making a contract, it doesn't have to be on paper, but if you do have a partner, it's good to talk about your red buttons and remember them, and your partner's red buttons as well. Because if you're a drinker and a smoker and your partner's red buttons are drinking and smoking, and what was the third one? Don't remember, but anyway, socks on the floor, right? And you are just that person who loves to leave the socks on the floor, brings you pleasure, then you might be not so compatible. I think being compatible on the likes is good, but being compatible on the dislikes is also good. When you do not drink and the other person hates the smell of alcohol, then it's a good match. But if you love drinking and you don't feel like giving up, it's part of your life, and the other person goes crazy when they smell alcohol, maybe that is something to think about and adjust. So your red buttons section should be filled out as soon as you can, really, in the soul section of our questionnaire on the website. And it's good to think about too, just for yourself. What are the things that annoy me? What are the things that I cannot tolerate? What are the things that I wish were not there? What are the things that rise my blood pressure? What are the things that make me stressed? Maybe at work, maybe if you're a leader at work, it's a good exercise for everybody to do a little brainstorm and next morning come up with 3 things that are their red buttons, and then for everybody to have a little discussion on that. It's like, what, you really don't like to see a messy desk, but we are in the same office. I understand, well, maybe I should clean it up a bit. I didn't know it annoyed you so much. Maybe you don't like when somebody, shakes their leg under the table in the meeting room, or maybe you don't like when somebody blows their nose in public. Whatever that can be, it is better discussed. And if we know what the other person's, even if you don't know the people on the side, you can still read their red buttons section, just to see what might annoy other people in you. And think next time you do it, it's like, I hope nobody in this room has those red buttons, because this is what I'm doing right now, and I don't hope to piss anybody off. I want to live in harmony and peace with all people, right? Right, okay. Thank you for listening. Red buttons coming up soon. Curious and looking forward to reading them. Goodbye, see you tomorrow.